Social Live. Due to some changes in my schedule today, I last week announced that I would be doing Local Social Live, What's Up Wednesdays, at 12 noon Eastern Time. But as you can see, I'm in the car, so my schedule changed just slightly. So I figured you got to roll with the punches. You got to keep what you said, what you would do, at least as best you can. So we're going to do this live here in the car while I'm driving. Probably won't be as long as it would as if I was at my desk streaming live through desktop. So, What's Up Social Wednesday number 1. I would have loved for it to have been as I had kind of planned and scheduled out, but such is life, right? My thing keeps moving here, so I apologize if it slides. So, I want to talk just briefly about, very loosely, I'm not into details of discussing social media news in detail. If you want detail about stuff, that's why folks like Social Media Examiner write such great blog posts. Go read their blog posts about what's happened through social media in detail throughout the past week or so. But these days, it seems like a lot of discussion around social media, a lot of discussion of social media revolves around live video and live streaming. So it's kind of hard these days to discuss what's happening in social media news and social platforms without talking about live video. It's like live video is the central focus of everything social. Facebook's doing such a great job in advancing Facebook or live streaming so much that all the other platforms, I think, are kind of scrambling for how to get this done and how to integrate their own version of live streaming video as well as Facebook has done. So, Twitter, I've read several articles about Twitter, and what's going on with Twitter, I still don't completely understand the details of it, but the bottom line is Twitter's trying to completely revolutionize what Twitter is in the eyes of the public. They're almost trying to redefine themselves, and it's all centered around live broadcasting. So again, we come back, we always think of Twitter as quick, short, quip little updates. At least that's my perception still. I'm sure there's people who are into Twitter a whole lot deeper than I am who it means different things, but I think I would be accurate in saying that the overall public perception of Twitter, the platform Twitter, is that it's short, quip, little text message style updates from anybody, but particularly news, breaking news from all around the world. It comes through Twitter a lot. I mean, even news stations, they use Twitter as a reference point for what's going on in this country or this city or whatnot. So for Twitter to try to be restructuring itself in the public eye is a big, big deal. And there's opinions on both sides, which if somebody catches this on the replay and live, well, probably replay viewers because I'm doing this off schedule. But if you catch this on a replay, whether it being shared or from the page, watch it as it's live and interact with me, because I will go back and respond to any comments, questions, opinions, whatever. We'll have a conversation even if you're watching this as a replay. So I encourage you, if you are watching the replay, watch it as if you're watching this live and interact and share your thoughts and comments and opinions as if you're watching this live. So there's various opinions, as there are with anything, regarding Twitter. Some people think, I've heard some people saying that they think it's just a horrible idea, that it's going to be executed so poorly that it could potentially ruin Twitter. Other people on the other side of the aisle are saying this is brilliant, they're doing a good job, even if it's not executed in the best way possible, it's going to be fantastic, and they're going to make some waves in the industry, and they're going to succeed with what they're trying to do. So my opinion is, I guess we'll wait and see. Either they get it done and they do it really well and it's awesome, or they don't do it very well, and it just kind of either fizzles out or it ruins them. I guess time will tell. I'd have a hard time believing that Twitter would just be ruined to the point where it disappears and goes away. But, so my opinion is, we'll see. So that's the Twitter stuff. The second thing I want to talk about is I had a really cool experience, thanks to an invite from a client of mine, National Drug Screening. I got to go to the DATIA 2017 conference in Orlando last night. And it was really eye-opening in a lot of different ways, but it was really, really a cool experience. And I got to pick up a couple of Joe at National Drug Screening's staff members and bring them with me while I was going to Orlando. So the conversation that I had with his two staff members were probably some of the best moments of the entire night, because I got to talk to National Drug Screening, and this is going to go into it a little bit, but National Drug Screening is such a broad spectrum company in the industry. So obviously they're in the drug and alcohol testing industry. They serve, folks through DOT, the Department of Transportation. They serve folks through federal regulation agencies. So they help with drug testing. They sell drug tests, they schedule drug tests, and then they help people in the industry who do the same thing. So they're kind of like, they're in the industry, but they don't compete with they kind of compete with everybody in the industry, but they also help everybody in the industry. It's a really interesting industry. So in discussing things with these girls, it was really, really cool to hear from the inside. So these girls, sorry, one moment. These girls that I was talking with, his staff members, were, they're in the trenches every day. They're like the first line of defense for National Drug Screening. So when people call in, they're the ones dealing with all sorts of different stuff going on. Customers and companies, and then even employees from within those companies. So anyway, wow, really bad accident here. Man, it seems like every time I stream live in my car, I see an accident. So the things that we were talking about all kind of centered around live video, social media content, and social platforms. And it was really interesting. So I didn't ask them how old they were, but they were millennials, I will say, which I'm barely not a millennial. So they were probably a little younger than me, thereabouts. And to hear their perspective on the things that I actually read in social media news from, other social media professionals and gurus and, higher ups in the social media world, it was really cool to talk to them and hear their perspective being very, very in line and accurate with the things that I read and see going on in the world of social media. I mean, talking about how things make you feel scrolling through your news feed, talking about retargeting ads and how well that Amazon does their retargeting ads and how it shows up in the news feed. And we talked about how, the phone case that she has is not because they retargeted her for that particular phone case, but that Amazon retargeted her because she looked at one phone case, and then an ad showed up in her news feed from Amazon saying, you looked at this phone case, you might actually like these other couple as well. And she ended up buying one of those other ones that was suggested from Amazon's retargeting ad in the Facebook newsfeed. So just stuff like that. We had a really good conversation about all things social. So we were discussing, I did just a few short live streaming moments last night for National Drug Screening on their Facebook page. So we got to talking about that. And they asked me, hey, did you do some live streaming for Joe on the NDS page? I was like, yeah. And you would have thought that I told them that I don't know, I gave them $1 million. They were so excited, like, oh man, we've been telling Joe and Tom that, man, we gotta start doing those. We gotta start doing live video. That's so cool that we got to do that you did some live video there of the conference. So then we started talking about that, and I made the bold statement, and it's not my statement. It comes from watching Gary Vaynerchuk, Gary V. It comes from watching folks who have started from nothing on YouTube 10 years ago, and now they're multimillionaires just doing their thing on YouTube. And we talked about how the different social platforms that even back in 2006, I think it was, when Google bought YouTube, how there were naysayers all over the place saying it's never going to amount to anything, nothing's good's going to come of it, it's just going to be one of those things. And there were the other people who said, no, this is going to change the world. And the people who hop on YouTube and use it for what it's intended to be used for are going to be famous and probably rich beyond their dreams. And that's what's happened. So there's something similar taking place right now in the world, very similar to how it was back in 2006, 2007, when Google purchased YouTube and really transformed them into the behemoth that YouTube is today. And that is, at least for right this second, Facebook live video. But live video in general, not just Facebook live video, but live video in general. Facebook live video, at least from my experience and from what I can see in the industry, is doing it the best. They're investing the most, they're moving the fastest, and they're creating the platform. They're removing as much friction from doing live video as anybody else I see in the industry right now. Facebook is. So I made the bold statement last night to these ladies and said, you know, in the vein of that YouTube discussion about people started in 2006, 2008, 2009, they trudged along, they grinded it out for years, and they didn't have a whole lot of success, but now they're making $800,000 a year from their YouTube channel, or even $100,000 a year from their YouTube channel. That's happening right now with live video, and this is going to be a progression. It's not going to happen overnight, but the people who start doing live video now, whether it's on Facebook Live or somewhere else, people that start doing live video now and commit to it, knowing that it's not going to be an overnight thing, it's going to be, 6, 7, 8, 10 years of a commitment and a dedication, that in 10 years from now, the people who start on live video now and stick with it are going to be the new Mario Lopez's, and I couldn't think, I don't know why he came to mind and nobody else did, but Mario Lopez's, Matthew Lauer's of the world. And they're not going to need a multi-million-dollar contract from ABC or CNN or Fox News or whatever in order to validate who they are and give them an income. They're going to be famous because of their own commitment, their own right, because all they did was start leveraging live video, Facebook live video. They stuck with it. They got better and better at it over the course of a decade, and now they're world renowned for who they are because of Facebook Live. And that's not me saying that. I'm just repeating other guys way smarter, way richer, way higher up in the world than I am. They're the ones that are saying that. Like Gary V, I don't know if he said it exactly like that, but I made that prediction to them last night, and they're like, oh man, Jordan said it first, Jordan said it. I'm like, no. He's like, well, and they laughed and said, and I was like, hey, it ain't me. I'm just telling you what I've learned from other people. And they said, well, I've never heard anybody say it until now, so you're the one that I heard it from first. That's amazing. So 10 years from now, when I see what you're talking about actually happening, because she's like, I believe it. I'll remember that you said it first. So that was a kind of a cool moment. But just thinking, it seems silly to think this way, but we have history, we have track records in YouTube and Twitter and even Facebook that it's going to happen. The people who step up and start leveraging live video on a consistent, committed, dedicated basis and do it consistently year after year, they don't even realize yet really what they're going to be creating for themselves come a decade from now in 2027 or 2025. They have the potential to become world renowned and to have all the fame that they would have if they were a talking head on ABC or NBC, or had their own talk show on ABC or NBC or so on. So it's really motivating for me. It puts a fire under my butt to get clear on who I am and what I want to bring to the world and the marketplace in this space, as far as talking about, or as far as using live video and making it compelling and educational and entertaining and valuable. So that's why I'm doing this local social live, is I just want to start. It's not going to be perfect. I use Gary Vaynerchuk as a fantastic example. He said when he started Wine Library, he talked to himself every day for 18 months. Nobody was watching. How discouraging would that be to a normal person? But see, he didn't need it. He was doing it to build a long-term brand and a long-term game. It eventually paid off. But the price he paid was maintaining his commitment and dedication to it for probably what seemed like a very long 18 months before anybody really started paying attention and watching. But as we all know, if you know who Gary V is, Gary Vaynerchuk, it paid off in a major way. Now, he was already successful in the real world before that, but that was his long game to add to what he was already doing with his wine company. So I think of that again and again, that why I'm doing this local social live. I don't care if nobody watches. Like, I'm staring at the screen right now and there's nobody watching live. But that shouldn't be an excuse for anybody to not do it. Because repurposing material, repurposing content is so powerful. Gary Vaynerchuk, I watch him. I just think he's fantastic in the industry. He doesn't cut corners. He doesn't bullshit. He just says it like it is, and he uses his own track record to prove that he ain't just talking crap. So he says, one of the reasons that I love the fact that I've documented, even back when I didn't really understand the power of documentation, documenting my story, I'm so glad we documented, because I can look back 8, 9, 10, 11 years now and pull up a video of where I said this is going to happen with XYZ company, and I can point back and said I was one of the first people to say it. So he's got this track record. So if nothing else, then that kind of attitude, everybody who has any kind of a desire should be doing live video. So I'm doing local social live, if for nothing else but for that, to just talk and to get it out there. I could repurpose this material 50 different ways. I could repurpose this video that I'm making right now and pull it out in 5 years from now and be like, look at this video that I saved and archived from 5 years ago, where I was talking about stuff that's happening right now, and it's happening 5 years ahead of when I said it was going to happen or thought it was going to happen. Stuff like that. But for local social live, my thing has always been local marketing, social media marketing, and now we're doing live streaming. So we're going to be talking about social media marketing, live streaming for marketing, and try to put a local spin on it. My heart is local folks. Sometimes they're some of the toughest to work with, only because they get beaten up by a lot of marketing companies the most. But there's something about the local folks, the backbone of America, the folks who are in the trenches every day building local businesses, trying to serve local folks in local communities. There's something about that that's powerful. And most of those folks are very disillusioned still on all this social media stuff, because they say they hear how fast things change, and by the time that a lot of these local business owners by the time they're actually getting to the mindset of, okay, I can kind of accept this Facebook thing now. It's been around for 10, 15, or 10, 12 years. It's really growing. It's changed, and it's nothing like what they thought it was. So then they start doing something that maybe would have worked really well like 7 years ago, and then it doesn't work. And they're like, see, man, I never should have done this. Facebook doesn't work. So if there's one thing that I think local businesses should be intelligently applying, strategically applying to their businesses, it's live video. So in the discussion we had last night, we talked about live video in the terms of a local business. And I made mention to them. I said, yeah, I've got a chiropractor that I talk to regularly, and some folks who are starting a pizza shop that I've talked to, and I encouraged both of them just to set up a live stream. I was like, for the pizza shop, I was like, set up a live stream in your kitchen, looking down at you making pizzas at your pizza line, and just stream live for 3-4 hours on Facebook. Their reaction as millennials confirmed that that would be awesome. They flipped it. They were like, whoa, that's such a cool, oh my, yes, I would watch that. That is so awesome. I mean, they just unequivocally, hands down, yes, that's cool. People should do that. I would watch that. That would make me interested in them. That would get my attention. So think about that. Let's just stay there. So I told my chiropractor the same thing. Put a live stream up. Let people watch you. Let people see like a live stream. And there was a guy named Chris P. What was his last name? Chris P. I think his name was Chris. Chris something. He started doing this back in like 2007, 2008. He set up a live camera, and he was a digital marketer. He set up a live camera, and he just worked. And people just tuned into his live stream, just watching him sit there at his desk and work on his computers. And occasionally he'd chime on and say hi and talk and whatever. So it's kind of the same thing. So I told the chiropractor, same kind of idea. Set up a camera, a dedicated camera, or a phone, like that I'm recording on my iPhone. Set up a phone with a little stand and just stream for an hour or 2 or 3 or 4 and let people see you take care of your patients. It's a very non-threatening, safe way, especially for folks in the chiropractic world who don't really understand chiropractic. They don't get it, or they're interested, they do understand chiropractic, but they're looking for a chiropractor. That's a very, very safe, non-threatening way for somebody to get to know you in a very real fashion. That you're live streaming a view of your patient room or your office. This particular chiropractor in Clarksville, Tennessee, he has an open floor system, an open floor space. So you could put a camera in his office and see almost everything except what's going on behind the front desk. So you could see him as a doctor interacting with and adjusting and taking care of his patients. So the only legality, I guess, that could come into this is consent from the patients to be on a live stream. So to me, that's the only real hurdle that might actually be a hurdle for some folks. But I told these girls again last night, and they're like, man, yes, that would get my attention. And I go back to Gary Vee, one of Gary Vee's big phrases is, I just day trade in attention. So to hear 2 millennials tell me that what I would perceive to be a boring live stream, to hear them say that would get my attention. And in my mind, I'm like, well, Gary Vee says all he does is day trade attention. And these 2 girls just said that tactic of live streaming would get my attention. It really can be as simple as that, local business owners, pizza shops, chiropractors, day spas and salons. You know what I mean? Like, put up a dedicated phone or a camera that you can live stream with in an hour to 4 hours a day, live stream just what's happening in your office or in your world, or even for a lawn cutting company. So a lawn services company who goes out and just landscapes and cuts grass all day long. Get yourself a hat or a little a GoPro attachment, put it on your hat or your head, and live stream for an hour or so. Take it off in your truck, put it on the little holster in your truck, talk to people as you're going to your next job, take it off, put it back on your hat, go out and mow and cut the lawn and do landscaping. It sounds stupid. I will admit that. It sounds stupid. But when I hear two young millennials say that would get my attention, isn't that all we're looking for as local business owners? Isn't that all you're looking for as a local business owner? Is to get more attention for your business? To get more attention from potential customers? And just the fact that you would get somebody's attention by creatively leveraging something like Facebook Live video, just that you're somebody who's already doing that in such a cool way, that would go so much farther than the perfect sales pitch, in my opinion. I wish I had the ladies with me to ask them again. But when you see local businesses doing things that other local businesses are not doing, and it gets somebody's attention, that goes a long way. That goes so much farther than even seeing your direct competitor in a really fancy swag print advertisement or a print magazine, because they're not going to remember the chiropractor that they see in that fancy print magazine. They're going to remember you, the chiropractor who got their attention by leveraging Facebook Live video, live streaming his office, allowing them to peek inside your world and see how you actually take care of your patients. I hope I'm going to repurpose this. I'm going to take this little segment that I'm doing right now on this live stream, and I'm going to cut it up, chop it up, and I'm going to repurpose it to create awareness for this live show and for myself and my company. So, I hope you're getting something out of this, local business owners, because there's some really good action steps here. And I guess we'll leave it at that. That's the local spin. There we go. We've taken live streaming, which has been the thread of this What's Up Social Wednesday, and we've applied it to a local fashion. We put a local spin on it. I've had 2 extra witnesses besides myself and besides all the gurus on social media talking about this, who said, yes, if somebody did a live stream like that, it would get my attention. In a world where we're so starved for attention, to have 2 young millennials say that would get my attention, hello? Do you hear the power in that scenario? Do you hear the power? I mean, it's unbelievable. So, I'll leave it at that. So this was the first flagship live stream of the What's Up Social Wednesday from Local Social Live. I'm Jordan Mulson, signing off. Tune in Friday, as long as the schedule permits, Friday at noon Eastern, where we're going to be talking more about Facebook Live. And I might be able to actually confirm a guest on for Friday's show, somebody who's doing local live. I'm not sure yet, but either way, I will be here, even if I have to do it from my car, off schedule just a little bit. So, God bless you. Tune in. If you're watching this at this point, please share this with your friends in general on Facebook, or please share this with anybody directly, or anybody directly you know could get some value out of it, and any direct Facebook groups that you're a part of. So if you see this on Facebook, if you see this on YouTube as a replay, please share the link on Facebook, through email, however you can. Give it a like, give me a subscribe, and I appreciate your attention. Talk to you soon.